Public opinion is about as meaningful as the games of nursery school. And they change and they shift. One moment is one way, the polls go this way, another moment the polls go that way. This was the message I was going to give you a few weeks ago. And when I was about to give it on Saturday, as you know, I injured my foot. I could not stand. It was the same foot that I had broken a while back. And it had to do, the message has in the title, Devil. So I'm always aware of that. I watched myself yesterday, so I wouldn't be doing anything stupid. I wouldn't be working on the roof. I wouldn't be doing anything. But this is, so be ready here. This is called the Devil's Flute. I'm going to see a revelations, some fascinating ones in the original language, what you would not see in the English, and something that has everything to do with your life, and something that you can turn around for victory. And here we begin. Verse 16. But what shall I compare this generation to? It's like children sitting in the marketplace who call out to the other children and say, we played the flute for you and you didn't dance. We sang a song of mourning, like a funeral dirge, and you didn't mourn. Now, he's speaking of children in the marketplace. In the Greek is agora, the big marketplace, center part of the city. Calling out to other children, they would play in the marketplace, calling out and say, we played the flute, but you didn't dance. We sang a song of mourning, of sorrow, and you didn't mourn. What is this about? The Lord just finished speaking about a man called Yochanan, whom we know as John the Baptist, the one who was called to prepare the way. Now, John lived a life called an ascetic life. He was simple, bare in the wilderness. He didn't come eating and drinking, but he ate locusts and honey. Okay, and that's an issue. It was kosher, though. His disciples fasted. It says, for John, he goes on, for John came neither eating or drinking, and they say he has a demon, he's possessed. This links up with the children who played the flute, and they said, dance. John didn't dance. He wasn't doing what they expected. He was otherworldly in many ways, lived a bare life in the wilderness, and they said he had a demon. But the Son of Man, verse 19, came eating and drinking, and they say, behold, he's a glutton. He's a heavy drinker. He's a friend of tax collectors and sinners, and yet wisdom is vindicated by her deeds. This corresponds with the children saying, we sang a funeral dirge and you didn't mourn. This is talking about Messiah. You didn't cry. You didn't come fasting and all these things. You didn't come like John. You came in. You were invited. Messiah was invited to go to a dinner in a house of sinners, and he went. He didn't meet their expectations. Remember what they called him? They called him friend of sinners. That was meant as a put down, but what an awesome title. The Pharisees said if this man were a prophet, he would know what kind of woman was at his feet weeping. They wanted him to avoid unholy people, but he ate and drank with sinners. So they condemned him, and they called him a drinker. And they accused John of being too otherworldly. They accused Messiah of being worldly. He goes to Zacchaeus' house. He's a sinner. And he said, they're a friend of the adulteress. What is Messiah saying? He's speaking against the judgment of man, the expectations of man. Very clearly putting down man's judgments and he's putting man's expectations into judgment. What shall I compare this generation to? I think to like nursery school children. Public opinion is about as meaningful as the games of nursery school. And they change and they shift. One moment is one way, the polls go this way, another moment the polls go that way. Not long ago, Americans in favor of redefining marriage away from man and woman, it's about 30%. And something like, and 70% against. The last poll taken just recently, 70% are now in favor, 30% against. What does it mean? Nothing. Except that it refers to the state of apostasy. We may not be Pharisees and Sadducees, but we also play tunes for the Lord to dance to. We make our own ideas of Messiah and of God. We expect him to dance. We preach prosperity. Now, God gives prosperity, but we preach that you can claim whatever you name and claim. If you believe and you claim and name it, God will do it. That's not the Bible. That's half of the scripture, not the rest. It's got to be God's will. Or the God of Jesus of self-realization, the God who is your success consultant, which is preached all around America. God will work for you. God will fulfill your potential. Same thing. Now, there's a truth in it, but it is not the whole truth by a long shot. It's not the gospel. The flutes and the funeral dirges. And there are others also who will condemn everything and you can't do anything. That's more like those who say, we mourn. We sang the funeral dirge, but you didn't mourn. Culture changes like the wind. Back when food was more scarce, the ideal woman in people's minds was a heavy woman. When food was plenty, models became anemic, like skin and bones. In some tribes in Africa, the woman put plates in their mouth to make these giant lips because that's considered hot there. At one time in America, it was cool to put grease in your hair. You know, in the 1960s and 70s, wearing bell bottoms were cool. Some of you were wearing them. And you thought it looked so cool. Now you'd say, what was I thinking? When you were in high school, there was often an in crowd, and you had different versions of the flute and the dirges. There were ways that this is cool, this is not cool. Happens in church culture. Some churches, you're expected to jump up and down when you worship. If you don't have the Spirit. You go to other churches, you jump up and down, and security will wrestle you to the ground. And the church organist will backslide. It's just flutes and dirges. Hi, I'm Jonathan Cahn, and I hope you were blessed with the video. Make sure you hit the subscribe button and tap the bell icon so you're notified every time a new video is posted. Feel free to share your reactions with your comments and how you were blessed, and share this video with your friends. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you next time.